In this lesson, we're going to talk about adding content to your pages. Before we begin, I want to tell you that adding content to your pages and your blog posts happens in the exact same way. The thing you'll want to consider is that for most of your pages, you will likely have a full width page, so you won't have any sidebar information. However, that's not necessarily the case with all websites. Some websites choose to have sidebars for even just their standard pages. Generally, for blog posts, you are definitely going to have some sort of widgets in the sidebar. So just keep that in mind because the area for your text on a page with sidebars is going to be shorter from left to right than it would be if it was a full width page. The content will still all be there. It will just be structured a little bit differently to fit into the appropriate space. All right, so let's get working with our text editor here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is turn on the kitchen sink, and you'll find this button on the right side. We'll click that and you'll see that you get a whole bunch more options. And you'll find that if you start creating a lot of content, these options that they have here are really not going to be enough. So you'll want to go out and look for a good plugin that allows you much more flexibility with your text editor. And we discuss one later in the course, but there are many, and you can try out any number of them that you want to. Okay, so first things first, let's just add a little bit of text. And I've got my good old lorem ipsum here. If you were ever curious about seeing this, I'm sure you've all seen lorem ipsum dolor sit. I have no idea how to pronounce that, but you get the idea. If you've ever seen this, it's really just a text placeholder that web developers use. And it's perfect in situations like this where we don't have any content that we're going to put in here. We just want to see what it's going to look like when it's done. When you are done with that, you want to click Update. And then when we go to our page, we'll see that we have our text right here. And we have no sidebars on this page. This is a full width page, so this is what it's going to come out looking like. Obviously, this page needs a little bit more splash, so let's go in and add an image or two. I'm going to actually add another lorem ipsum paragraph here. And what I'm going to do is put my cursor right in the top left, right before all this text. So let's click the Add Media button, and this is where you're going to upload and choose any images that you want to use on your page. We've got a couple images set up here, and I'm just going to go ahead and check this and show you that you can click Insert into Page. We'll take a more detailed look at this in a second. So let's just update this and see how it looks now. You'll see that there are some modifications we need to make. Okay, so you would kind of expect that the text might show up here to the right side of this, and it didn't. It's just this image and it takes up all this space, and then the text got pushed down below. Well, as you can imagine, I did that on purpose, and what we want to do here is click on an image, and you can edit it by going into this Edit Image button, a little picture image. Here we can do a lot of things. So we can actually scale this down. Let's say we want that to be 80% of the size it was when we uploaded it. You can give it a title, you can give it an alternative text, and that is helpful for SEO or search engine optimization. You can write a caption to this, which will show up under the image if you like. And then we have our link URL. So if you want this to link to another page, so if somebody clicks on the image, you want them to go to a specific page, just grab that page URL and put it in here. Whenever you see the default, which is the link URL is linking to the image file itself, on most themes, what will happen is when you click it, it'll show you an enlarged image or kind of a pop-out image of the image they just clicked on. Unless you're using that to display a product or something like that that somebody might want to get a closer view at, you don't want to use that. So really, what you want to do is either choose none, so that when the user clicks on it, nothing happens, they just click on it, or link it to another page. Okay, so we have no link. The last thing we want to do is take a look at alignment. We see we've got none for alignment, which means that we're just going to have the image like it's sitting on that page. It's going to take up all of the vertical space that that image takes up, and nothing else is going to be on those lines, just that image. As you can see, the text got pushed down here, and so that's what none means. If you move it to the left, then you'll see an example here. What's going to happen is then the image is going to be here and that text is going to wrap around it. If you've ever used Microsoft Word and inserted an image into a document, you will have noticed that they have similar options to wrap the text in different ways around the image. If you want it to be in the center, that might look a little goofy, but it looks like the text is going to show up down below it, but it'll center the image in the page. And if you want it to be on the right, which actually kind of looks nice for a lot of web pages, you can do that. So let's take a look at both what left and right look like. So we'll click the update button on our add media page, and then we'll click update, and we're going to check out what this looks like. Okay, so this is what left alignment looks like. Let's take a look at right alignment. And there you have it. Now the image is off to the right and our text is on the left. Now, as far as adding content to your page, that's how it works. Generally, what you're going to add is text and images and maybe embed some videos, which we'll discuss. All right, so we'll dive into a little more detail on the text editor, but let's go back to add media really quickly. And we were in the media library tab. I already had a couple images uploaded. If you want to upload more images, you simply click on upload files, select files, and choose your image. Alternatively, you can simply drag and drop your images onto this space right here and it will upload them for you. So if I select a file and choose this Microsoft logo, it'll upload that for me. And on the right side here, you can actually choose your alignment right off the bat, since we know that this is the one that's going to be placed in the page because it's got the check mark and the blue border around it. If we wanted to use this image, we just click on that. And you can also do the link type, so you can choose how you want it to link. Let's just choose none. And then you can choose the size of this image. So full size, it was uploaded as 240 by 135, but you could also use it as a thumbnail, and let's give that a shot. So we'll thumbnail it, which is 150 by 135. Add it in here and we'll see that the image is actually cut off because what it's doing is cropping this image to be a relatively square thumbnail size. So you would just want to make sure that you have the right type of image for that. Okay, so now we've worked with text and with images. Let's talk about the text editor. This is really the same as Microsoft Word in most cases, or any other text editor or word processor you've used. So for example, on my PC, I can use Control B and make this bold. So I can also highlight that and make it unbold here. We can make it italic, or we can strike it through, which is sometimes helpful for pricing if you're offering a discount. You can also do bullet points and numbering just like any other word processing software. So if we want to add several bullet points, we can just come down here and work with it that way. All right, so we can also do like pull quotes. You can have that look like a quote, so it'll italicize it and move it towards the middle. And you can take a piece of text here and justify it to the right, center, or left. Here is where you would add a hyperlink. So if you want to cancel out of here, if you want to hyperlink a couple of words in here, you would come in here, highlight it, enter the URL, and then you can choose whether you want that link to open in a new tab or in the same tab. And you can also link to existing content. So just a nice, easy way, instead of going out and finding the link of this child page up here in the URL bar in the preview, we can just go, okay, I just wanted to go to that page, and it automatically fills that URL in for you. We'll add that link. You can also choose the writing mode. So if you're writing a blog post and you just want to fire out some writing and not have to worry about all the other distractions that are on that page, you can come here and write this way. And if you move your cursor, you'll see that you have some basic functionality up here, and then we can exit full screen. Now let's clear some of this up here and talk a bit about this formatting here. And basically you would use that for titles. So let's say this is our page title. You've got several options, and again, themes will have different options, but most of them will have at least these options. So you've got a paragraph, which is just standard text, address, which is everything italicized, and you've got pre-formatted, which looks a little different, and then you've got these headings, heading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. These are going to be generally larger or somehow different looking font than the regular standard text, which is going to be paragraph. So if I choose heading 1, you'll see that it doesn't look like it changed a bunch here, but let's update this and take a look at how this looks on the page, and you'll see quite a dramatic difference. All right, so this is what it actually looks like on the page. You can see that's good for the title of a page. You could use that for the title of a section on a page. And just so you get the full idea of how this works, we're going to change it from heading 1 to, let's say, heading 4, and take a look at how that makes it look different. Okay, so now we see it's gotten quite a bit smaller, it's less bold. So you can just play around with those, try each one, see what they look like, and see which one you want to use for example, page headings, and see which ones you want to use for section headings. Generally, if those look different, it helps the structure of your page, and it helps somebody reading it to understand what's the page heading and what's the section headings. Okay, so the rest of this, we'll just go through really quickly. We've got underline here. We can align everything to fill up the space across the page. So you'll see if we click this, the spaces between words have changed a little bit, and you can think of that as how books look. You'll see the text is stretched out so that it fits the page size, so that there are nice even edges on each page. And you can also do things like change the text color. So let's change this to bright red so that we can see it. And then here we've got pasting from a text document right here, plain text, and a Word document. So if you have something you've written in Word, you want to put it in here. Basically, I would just find the area where you want to put it. Come in here, paste it into this box, click Insert, and it'll throw that in here, and you won't have any messed up formatting. Speaking of messed up formatting, if you are doing some things, creating some content, and your text looks a little bit wonky, or turns to a different font or something like that, you don't know what's happening, you can always go and say, okay, well, this is messed up. I want to come in here, click this eraser, and it removes all formatting. So it's basically going to reset it back to the paragraph setting here, and there's going to be no other formatting. Everything else you did to it will now be gone. Here you've got some extra characters that you can choose from, things like that. In the US, I need to sometimes use the pound or the euro sign because we don't have that in our text editors by default. Here's indenting, so we can take this area here and indent it a little bit. We can do a little more, and so on and so forth. Here you can undo, or you can just press Control Z and it will undo what you've done. And here is a little help icon for you. So I know that was a bit rushed, but I'm sure most of you have used text editors before and you get the idea. Again, go find a good plugin and play around with some of the expanded features that you can get. One of them being working with tables that standard WordPress functionality doesn't give you, but you'll probably find that you're going to need that at some point. So that is it for basic content creation. Go forth and create content.